Yes guys, right, so today I'm going to be taking you through a complete strength training program for runners that you can do in the comfort of your own home. Now a lot of you will be increasing your weekly mileage at the moment because a lot of the gyms are shut, so it's going to be vitally important that you keep up some strength training to complement the running that you're doing. I'm going to have a kettlebell for my resistance today, but if you can do this doing body weight, if you've got dumbbells or barbells, you can do these same exercises. So I'm going to take you through each one, the rep ranges, the sets, and what muscle groups we're working. So it's important to do some activation exercises of some of the key muscle groups that you're looking to work before you go into the main exercises. So I've got a resistance band just above my knees. I'm going to do a bit of glute activation here, so we're going to stand with the feet at least hip width apart. Slight flex in the knees, but we don't want to be squatting too much. The band's obviously going to be trying to pull your knees inwards, so we've got to resist that by trying to externally rotate outwards. So straight away you should feel your glute medius kick in, and then from there, just going to do a few side steps across. Always keeping those feet at least hip width apart. A few side steps one way and a few side steps the other. Resisting against that band, keeping tension on that band the whole time. You should feel those glutes working. For this one, just going to do about a minute of steps. Nice and controlled. 4 or 5 steps one direction, 4 or 5 steps the other. Should feel a nice glute burn after a minute of this. So the second activation exercise, again we've got the band around just above the knees. This time we're going to be lying down on the floor, feet about hip width apart, with a nice pretty much vertical angle of your shins there. What I want you to do is drive through the heels, push your hips up into in this fully extended position. Again, resist the band by pulling the knees outwards and tuck the pelvis into a slight posterior pelvic tilt. Really squeeze those glutes, and we're just going to hold that position at the top there. Keeping that tension, really trying to think about the muscles we're trying to hit. Make sure we're pushing through the heels rather than through the toes. If you push too much through your toes, you're going to feel it more on your quads. We want to fire up the posterior chain here. And we're just going to hold this position at the top 45 seconds. So for those 2 banded activation exercises, you're going to do 3 sets. So 1 minute on those side steps and then 45 seconds on the glute bridge position with the resistance band 3 times through. And then from there, let's get into the main part of the session. So the first exercise we're going to do is a runner's reverse lunge. A great exercise for your glutes, but also for your quads and your single leg kind of stability. What we're going to do is I'm going to have a kettlebell, but you can do it with a dumbbell or barbell if you can have it on your shoulders. But I'm going to be loading up the same leg that the majority of my weight's going to be on. So I've got the kettlebell on my right arm. I'm going to be standing on my right leg. From there, I'm going to step back into a reverse lunge with my left leg, bending both knees to about 90 degrees. From there, driving through that front foot, up into full extension of the standing leg, pulling the back leg up into hip flexion. Straight back into that reverse lunge, driving up. Shoulders pinned back, chest up nice and proud. Little pause at the top of each rep. This knee should be tracking over the shoelace on that standing leg. And again, really big squeeze that glute at the top every single time. We're going to aim for 12 reps on each side for this one, with a little pause at the top. So the next exercise we're going to focus on is a split stance RDL, Romanian deadlift. We're really going to focus on your hamstrings, but also your glutes for this one. It's going to be, the main focus is going to be our eccentric portion of the exercise, so the portion where the muscle is lengthening. So it's going to be a slow, controlled eccentric with a kind of shorter, more explosive concentric movement. I'll show you what I mean there. Again, we've got a kettlebell here, but you can use dumbbells or you can use a barbell. We're going to be in a split stance, so one foot slightly in front of the other. Front leg should be straight, back leg should be just very soft in the knee. Have the weight in front of the body, shoulder blades pinned back. All I want you to do is hinge at the hips. So we're pushing the hips backwards, keeping the front leg straight, slowly down until you feel that little stretch on the hamstring. So for me, it's about there. And then drive up and squeeze that back glute. Again, try and get a little posterior tilt of the pelvis and squeeze the glute there. Again, slowly on the way down as we hinge the hips. Minimum of 3 seconds on the way down. And then drive up and squeeze on the way up. Try and keep your spine nice and neutral, shoulder blades pinned back as we go down. Nice and controlled on the way down, big squeeze as we come up. Again, we're going to aim for 12 reps on each stance. So the next exercise, we're going to focus on a single leg hip extension or glute bridge. Again, we're going to load it up with a bit of weight if you've got some here. So basically what we're going to do for this one is have a little lie down on your back. load up the dumbbell or whatever you got on the hip that's going to be working. So I'm going to have my right foot placed down, I'm going to have my left leg just relaxed but off the floor. You can either have it out straight or just bent up here, as long as we're not trying to activate the opposite leg. From there, we're going to drive up through the heel of the standing leg, squeeze the glutes at the top, pause for 1 second, then take those hips all the way back down to the floor. So again, our focus here is the posterior chain. So it's going to be the glutes, it's going to be the primary muscle, the hamstrings should be the secondary muscle. Squeeze at the top, pause, and back down. Again, we want to get that hip fully extended. So you want to imagine you've got a straight line from your knee through your hips to your shoulders as you get up the top. So we've got no bend left in the hips. Again, try and get a little posterior tilt the pelvis and really squeeze the glute. Little pause at the top there. Again, we're going to go for 12 reps on each side. Pausing at the top every single time. Make sure we're pushing through that heel as well to activate the posterior chain as much as you can. So the next exercise is a great exercise for your calf muscles, in particular soleus, which is really important for you when you're running, okay? So we need that nice and strong. So I want you to sit down with your knees bent, having the ankle pretty much directly under your knee. We're going to load up by getting the weight on top of that knee. So we're going to do one leg at a time here. So I've got the kettlebell on top of the knee, starting with the heel on the ground. All I want to do is push through the balls of your feet, then up onto the big toe, taking your heel off the floor, then placing it back down. Same again, driving up through that big toe, all the way back down, nice and slow and controlled. And I'm really kind of pushing the weight down through the knee, so I've got the resistance of the kettlebell, plus that little bit of pressure that I'm actually pushing down through it, all the way up onto the toe and back down. Again, little pause at the top on every single rep, really try and squeeze those muscles. Again, great exercise for your soleus muscle and your calf here. For this one, we're going to go a little bit higher with the rep range. We're going to aim to do 30 reps on one side and then switch it over 30 reps on the other, really working on that strength and endurance through that muscle. So we're going to go on to some core exercises now. So for this one, we're going to go down on the floor. You've got two options with this one. Either heels touching the floor, knees slightly bent, slightly lean back with the upper body, so you've got this kind of V shape of the body. Grab your weight, and basically we're going to do some rotation here. So twisting across the body. So I get the weight up, and I'm just going to rotate the body, twisting across. My eyes are following the movement of the kettlebell here. Rotating, twisting, keeping that core nice and strong. Option two is to have the heels off the floor. So obviously it's going to make it a little bit more difficult with the heels off the ground. So we do exactly the same thing, but as we do this one, if your heels off the floor, the legs should just naturally go the opposite direction to the way you're rotating in that upper body. Keep that core nice and strong, and we're going to go 30 rotations, so 15 each side. Next exercise is going to be another core exercise. It's going to involve the upper body a little bit as well, and it's going to be in a high plank position. So we're going to be in a, basically like a press up position. And again, we're going to utilize your weight here. So what I want you to do is start the kettlebell or dumbbell to one side of your body. You're going to be up into that kind of high plank position. So on the hands, first thing is engage that core. Suck the belly button in towards your spine, squeeze those glutes, keep everything nice and stable. From there, I want to take your opposite hand and grab the kettlebell or dumbbell and just pull it across, place it out wide on the other side. I then switch hands, pull it across, again, replace it on the other side, and just keep going, alternating sides there. The key here is to not let your body rotate too much. So I'm not opening up as I pull the kettlebell across. I'm keeping everything nice and locked down, that core nice and strong. So really focus on that stability. Just keep going, alternating sides. I want to try and do 20 reps, so 10 on each side. So there's the run through of all the exercises you're going to be doing. How you're going to lay out the workout is going to be, obviously start with a bit of a warm up. You're then going to get into those activation exercises that we looked at, those first two exercises with the band. You're going to do those exercises, 3 sets of those. Once you've done 3 sets of those, you then move to the other 6 exercises, which we're going to do in like a circuit format, okay? So you're going to go through each exercise until you've done each 6 exercises. We then rest for 2 minutes at the end of each set, and I want you to do 3 to 5 times round that circuit. Once you've done that, you then move on to a little bit of a cool down, finish with a stretch, and then that's you done. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Let me know how you get on.